Hello, everybody. This is Pete from PA Labs, and I'm going to do a video on the entire progress of the war game. Um, I've done a lot of work all the way through. We actually have a background or a configuration screen with volume controls for the playing the game. I don't have any music loaded, but otherwise, if I did and we had background music, you could select your background music. Mostly that's for the war game side of things. Earlier today, I did a video on the player, and the player is coming along quite nicely. Um, so we can come along and dock panels and undock them and stuff like that. We got a big drop down up here. Right now I have a message linked in so we can pop up messages. That's what the messages in the game will look like. And that pretty much ends I mean, there's not much on the game player except that the entire screen is going to be the map. So you can focus in on what is going on in the action that's going here. We have at least 5 statuses that the game will be in, turn phases. We'll have a bombing phase that will have you'll move out your bombers to go attack. If the defender has fighters in the area that can reach, they'll join the combat, and then you'll have a combination of dropping bombs and getting shot by fighters and defending yourself. Then we'll actually go into artillery firing. That's ranged firing, and then we go with the movement, assault, combat sort of stuff. So that is the layout for this. Um, the game designer, I caught the bug that was slowing down the load and got it cleaned up. When I have resources, this only takes a couple seconds. One of these days, I'm going to have to get a new machine. This video software is just horrible to the computer. So well, not much has actually been done on the terrain side of things. It still is what it is. A lot of work has gone in to the designer side of things. Cities have been flushed out, screens pretty much completed. You can actually select what sort of units you want your city to build, if in fact the city can build units. You can have cities as objectives down here. You have the owner, you have your points and whatnot. Cities are automatically numbered and will have a default name of this, but you can override that. It's all fine. Let's see. Farms and whatnot has stayed pretty much the same. Game units have changed a lot. So let me come down here to game units. So I've redone many of the images. The hand sketched ones that I did have all been replaced. This brought about another kind of issue, I guess I should say. Um, and I'll get to it in a minute, but first we have a finalized unit. The unit will carry its unit number at the top. So this would be the first infantry. It'll carry the name of the element type on it. I'm debating whether if you put in a name, say that was, I don't know, pick a general or somebody out of the war, and you want that to be his unit because he's going to be an objective, then maybe we'll put his name in instead of infantry, so it kind of stands out as to where he is. But the units, this screen is now fully active. He gets fully updated with what's going on. And it brought about when I was doing this that especially with infantry and fighters. Let's see, let's jump over here to fighters. So we have fighters as well, but there's some distinctive fighters in the war, obviously. The Japanese Zero, the German Messerschmitts, the Spitfires from England, and I forget the name of the Russian fighter. And I decided that, each of these players should be able to have their own fighter, picture of their own unit, not just deal with the U.S. unit like this. So what I've done is I've modified national units. Well, let's start at game era. So game era now, if I come down here to say modify World War II, I've put many of the people of World War II in here. And I've created a generate for uh, creating the era elements for all the participants of the war. So the generate does a sync to game units, and if like we take off armor and hit generate, that'll remove armor from everybody. If you add barge, it'll add barge to everybody. If you blow it all away and decide to do it yourself, you can do that. So that's a real nice thing because that was a real royal pain in the butt to set up. And so now it's an easy click. So the game units, if we jump over here to game units, we have the ability, initially, the game units are created with the default elements. Okay. So what I plan to do is come in and say, okay, I'll have a folder with images. We can load an override image and we can put a Confederate soldier infantry here, or for World War I, we could have a spiked helmet German, or a German infantry for World War II, or a Russian or Japanese, or the various units can actually have all their own pictures. Okay, we can put in a Tiger II if you want for the German tanks. We can put in Messerschmitts and all of this here. So I'm going to try to fill out some of that, at least gather the units together to have in here. So then when you go to build your infantry, when you place the unit, the system automatically picks up your USA. So I already have all that information available on this screen. We'll just swap in the right image, the image that you have, the override or what have you, and therefore you build your game with all the various units that you would ever want to have. So that's this piece of it here. So the storybook side. So this is a concept of building a storyline if you're building a campaign game sort of thing, where you may have 2 or 3 maps. You're playing either against an opponent or you're playing against the AI, and you'll be able to come in and say, okay, let's set up some story sort of things. There we go. We can have turn events where on a specific turn, of turn 1, turn 5, the max turn event occurs, you've lost the game because you haven't achieved your objectives. When a city is destroyed, who is it destroyed by and what is the city that gets destroyed? And so these are the events that happen. A structure is destroyed, a unit is killed, a specific objective is taken, and just about everything can be an objective, from farms to POW camps to That's all it nested in here. Then what you can do, I think I have this, yes. So then you can have various actions. You can have a message pop up. You can have reinforcement supply show up at some city. You can have reinforced units show up on the board somewhere. You can declare war. I want to work in a piece that you can have neutral cities or neutral countries that when they get invaded, they declare war, such as Poland or Luxembourg or Belgium or Holland and all of that sort of stuff. So regardless, you can handle all of this. Um, Alter game, I left it in there, but I had the idea, but I haven't quite figured out what it's going to do. Storyline lets you do messages and you can have things occur for that, or you can actually play a specific wave file. And that brings me to the other piece of what I've set up. I've gotten rid of developer. I decided that had to be part of military types, has to be part of the game. So you can actually go change them and tweak them. But I've added game sounds, and game sounds allows you to upload wave files, and you can upload them as types. Okay. And I have lots of different types here. So you have marching troops in Black Powder era, very different noise than marching troops in World War One or Two. Um, that sort of thing. Cannon fire versus artillery fire. There's a distinctive difference between black powder and smokeless. So also gun styles, you have machine guns, small arms fire, that sort of thing. So the games will then use the right sound at the right time. You can have sounds for submarines firing, um, airplanes flying, victory, defeat sounds, all of that sort of thing can come in. So those are some of the changes I've done. I did a couple videos the other day on the structure inheritance, which has come from my rewrite of the server. That is well underway. The server is actually a living, breathing animal right now. It's awaiting me to build a game and actually start messing with it. So that's my next phase in this, is to actually build a game and then export it. I've got the export written. I've made several changes to this, but I think that it's going to be small tweaks because of the new element images. So instead of building a sheet for all of the pointy topped elements, then what we're actually going to do is say, hey, this game has these players. Go get their elements and build that. And then the game would then use that sprite sheet versus the other. So there's going to be some ricochet changes built into the whole system. AI hasn't started yet. I haven't actually broached that one yet because AI needs a game to play with and to decide how I want to do it. So rest assured we'll get there eventually. Uh, so that is the update of where I am. And I'm almost really ready to go ahead and put a copy out on the website for those of you who would like to download this and play with it. I would like to get your feedback if I have any, and see what y'all think. So that pretty much gives you the update of what's going on here and what I've managed to get done in the last week or so since the last update. I've kind of been blowing and going, heads down. So I want to thank y'all for watching.